Good evening, Snooker World and 15 Red Podcast. We're here for another show, and back I am. I'm glad to be back. A lot. I thought I'd give you that little introduction there, Mike. Yeah, I'm glad to be back. A lot going on personally. We won't go into that, but everything's good at the moment. So fingers crossed. Good evening to Mike in Vancouver, British Columbia. How are you, Mike?
Very well. My second round at it. Back earlier with Scott, now with you.
Yes, your second round. You're a marathon man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just he's got to do it for 17 days. That's the thing. You know?
Oh yes.
Oh yes, I think he will as well. So before we get into the day's play and before we cover anything about the World Championships, quarterfinal wise and everything like that, because we've got a fantastic quarterfinal lineup to tell you about. And obviously, I know you know snooker fans, but we'll go through it one by one for you tonight. But first of all, a subject that came up last week, I think it was Thursday. Mr. Barry Hearn has retired as chairman of Matchroom. Thoughts?
Yes. Yeah, he's done a lot for snooker, and I think it's at the end of the World Championship he's officially retired. So.
Oh, is it? I thought he'd retired.
I think it's a contingent at the end of the tournament. He would be retired. Are you sure he's actually retiring?
Yeah.
I think he's always going to be around.
Well,
he'll be consultant.
In the background.
He's in the background. Yeah.
But yeah, he said he's done with the chair business.
Yeah. But he's done wonders for the sport. I mean, they were basically
what he's done for the game since I'd say 1986.
Yeah.
He brought the Matchroom boys together. He was the manager of Steve Davis at first, and then he signed everybody up. And what he's done, I mean, you know, he's done for darts. He's done at Lake Norient. He's just a great guy, and he has introduced all these Q scores, Q cards, more tournaments that weren't there like 15 years ago, and he brought them all in. You know, just a great character, and I'm sure he'll be missed forefront.
Absolutely.
But, never forgotten. What you know. No. Just a legend. That's all we can really say about the man.
Well, if it wasn't for him, you would wonder if snooker would have any relevance at all.
Well, I think it wouldn't have the future it's got now, and he's left a good foundation, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, look how the game's expanded under him. It's now, you know, it's out in Asia and other countries, and the prize money's like through the ceiling now compared to what it was. So he deserves a great retirement, that's for certain.
He does. And I wish we were there for the send off. What a send off that's going to be.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
Yeah. So that's that piece of news that I wanted to cover. The next piece is about Judd Trump. You saw this, that he was talking about modernising snooker, bringing the dress code up to date, and not wearing their bow ties anymore. That's what he's on about, isn't he? Getting professionally dressed.
He's okay. That's part of what he's saying, but and to me, that's the minor part of it. The part that's relevant and the part that he's doing wonders, and I agree with him on, is the idea of more social media, better TV product, getting young kids involved, all these types of things, focusing on current and future talent as opposed to living 30 years ago. Like there's a time and a spot for these previous generations, but I agree with him. They haven't done enough to show the young and coming talents.
Yeah,
compared to other sports, even. So,
compared to other sports, you know. But he's. I understand what he means, but he doesn't want to be stuck in a waistcoat walking to the crucible. It's not cool to be wearing that nowadays. and he's trying to make the younger audience. He's trying to make it more, appealing to them. That's what he's saying.
But on that particular point, it's not a fashion show, right?
No, that's true.
He's right. Okay, but that can be tweaked. If I had my way, maybe just the World Championships, you had the formal look, because it's kind of a formal event, right? It's the main event, so maybe just stick to that. And then the other ones, yeah, I agree. Maybe code.
Maybe the Masters and the UK Championships keep the bow ties, but everything else.
Okay, that's fine. But
yeah,
but to be fair though, I don't think that's the talking point. That what people are wearing necessarily is going to determine if people are going to get involved. I think the most important thing is getting the product on the TV much more up to date and make that appealing. Because, like I said to David Paddy, who's in charge of the Canadian Snooker Academy, and he said all it would take in Canada is for a young player to see it on TV and get excited about it and do it, and then it would grow. So
and I think that's what's going to happen in the future. Definitely, people, they'll take inspiration from a lot of things that are going on at the moment.
Yeah,
like we're going to discuss, we'll discuss the break-off shot very, very soon. Because I know that's forefront of the topics right now. I know we won't spend a long time on that.
No.
The other thing and Judge Trump, actually, a couple of years ago, Judge Trump wasn't actually speaking out, but now he's using he's actually out there now.
And he should be fully commended for doing that.
Absolutely.
I may not agree with him. You may not agree with him. The world may not agree with him. But the fact that he at least speaks his truth on his platform, amen to that. We need more of that.
We do. I agree. And also, he said about the snooker records that won't be broken, except the quickest 147 break ever.
Yeah, like some records are going to be broken, but I mean, come on, who's going to break Joe Davis's 15 World Championships?
Nothing. Although that hasn't gone down in history as 50 proper world titles because there were no ranking events back then. But it still stands to me. It still stands. I mean, he still deserves to win them titles.
Yeah, I can't just unilaterally eradicate history. Maybe the era and the scenario was different, and I agree that it was. Maybe put an asterisk beside it and just put the actual points, but you can't just take it away from him, Joe Davis.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. To me, he's earned the right to be world champions 15 times.
Correct. Exactly. But there's some other ones there that are pretty much untouchable for at least a very long period. The youngest world champion, Stephen Hendry, it's going to take some talent to come along at a very young age to win a world championships at his age.
To break his record.
Yeah.
Of 29 match wins at the
Crucible. The 29 Crucible match win streak.
Yeah.
That's not breaking anytime soon. So,
no, I don't. Can you see anybody doing that?
Well, not in my lifetime. I don't think the field's too strong. I don't think 29 matches. I mean, Hendry had a softer era to play in all fairness.
Let's see. So, how many matches do you get at the Crucible in one go? 5.
You get 5 matches. If you win it, you win 5 matches.
5. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got to be in 6 tournaments and win them all. 6 Crucibles, 6 years, win them all, and then you do the record in a row.
Fair enough. Yeah, exactly.
I can't see anybody doing that 6 years in a row.
The one that Robert Wilcox says about the oldest world champion, that could go this year. All right, that's a possibility. But
yeah,
I mean, that's where that statement goes wrong, because it's only Ronnie's will stand. Well, then that's a little bit short-sighted. Wouldn't you say? It's a bit short-sighted on Judd's part.
I think it is, to be fair. Yeah.
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 I know he doesn't like the history of the game, or he wants everything about the future, and I agree with him on it. But you can't just unilaterally wipe out what's happened previously.
No, of course you can't.
What Henry did was brilliant. What Ray Reardon did was outstanding.
Yeah.
What
Absolutely stunning. Yeah.
you can't just eradicate that. So
yeah, and he's got it. Sometimes they've got to be careful what they say, and we know Ronnie's been guilty of that before.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
yeah, that's well, it's good though that Judge, as you say, it's good that Judge speaking out.
Correct, and
so nobody. Dan Cameron says nobody will win 5 titles in a row again. That's a bold statement.
Well, again, it's the same thing. Forever is a long time, so I can't quite go that far. But
I mean, you might get some snooker prodigy, like not in maybe in the same league as Ronnie, going ahead and winning 5 tournaments in a row. It's not going to happen, but it's likely. It's a likelihood, maybe a possibility. It's
as close to zero as you can get. Let's put it like that.
And it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
Kelvin said Barry Hearn is the best sports promoter ever, which was echoing what we said there.
That's correct.
Yeah, and the home nations are shirts, no ties. The shootout, polo shirts. Maybe keep the Triple Crowns as waistcoats, and that's another thing we said, wasn't it?
Yep.
So do you think BBC have had Jack Lazowski in studio and commentary box following Judge comments about having the same old dinosaurs?
Well, as funny as it sounds, if you go back maybe to episode 21, there's an episode where I go on a BBC rant saying about how antiquated, bland, that it's stale. It's stale. It needs a facelift, a nose job, whatever you want to call it. And I think this is part of a transition, maybe, but I think they can go outside the box even further than that. I don't think it has to. It doesn't need to be a player or necessarily. You know what I'm saying? It's someone that understands the game, plays the game, and you need the right pairings. Look at Eurosport, for example. Look how much better their product is. You've got a journalist with a player. And it's so much better.
Joe Johnson, Dave Hendon, Phil Yates.
Yep.
Yeah, they've all sort of, well, I don't think Dave Hendon have, but Phil did. I think Phil was a player, but not professionally.
Yeah.
Alan McManus, Jimmy White. They know the game. Dennis Taylor. I still think Dennis Taylor is a fantastic commentator.
It's not a knock on these guys being good or bad. It's how does the product look, and you do need to change it up. I think for it to be appealing. Hearing the same old voices day in day out or match in match out, it kind of wears on people.
Yeah, so, I do agree with that. It does need pepping up. Yeah, I mean,
and I think it is part of it.
I'm not gonna derate people, but Rob Walker and Joe Perry together are not the best.
No, that's it. That they need to work it in such a way where they can strike at a younger audience. And Dan says about Rhiannon Evans in the studio. Is she the best person to have in there? Would you have hired Rhiannon Evans?
Yeah, why not? Shape it up a bit and let other people have a go. Why not? On Eurosport at the minute, they've got Anthony Hamilton.
Yes.
So why not throw the other people in there? Give Rhiannon Evans a go.
In all fairness, Anthony Hamilton hasn't been that bad. I've watched a couple of. He sounded quite refreshing.
Yeah, I think he sounded pretty good actually.
Yeah.
And when he was first talking, to be honest, I thought, who is that guy? And then when he said, I was like, okay. Anthony Hamilton, really?
Yep.
Favourite player of mine back in the day.
He's been pretty good to listen to. His voice is good. He understands the game. The presentation that is not affected. Yeah,
Yeah.
see, Michael, he's been very good, and he would be a part of a transition or part of the future of it going
Do you
forward.
agree what Dan said there? He said they're trying with Rhian Evans, but Hazel and Davis and Parrott, 20 years they've been in there.
But to be fair, Hazel Irvine has been a fantastic. She is the first lady of snooker. I think Elliot West has written a piece on the first lady of snooker, and
Yeah.
she and Steve Davis and John Parrott to a lesser degree, they are the best voices on there on BBC.
Yes, I agree, and they know the game inside out. So
Yeah, no, they
why
do.
not? Dominic Dale, of course, on Eurosport. You've got who's your favourite presenter on Eurosport? Dan said his is Goldstein, Andy Goldstein.
Andy, presenter, yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
He's
on the
very
BBC,
good.
On the BBC, it's got to be Hazel Irvine, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think those are no-brainers there.
Yeah.
I don't think Judd or anybody else is questioning like the front end of the presentation, being Hazel and Andy and all of that. No one's questioning that part. I think the part where it gets stale is maybe in the commentary box. It's maybe a little bit repetitive.
Yeah.
It's a little bit old now, if you will.
Old hat.
So, and obviously presenting the sport in such a way that it is appealing. It needs to be appealing to younger guys, younger players.
Yes.
Because they're watching and listening very carefully. But
learning off the game. And that's why I still think that Dennis Taylor, he's good to learn off. He actually speaks to somebody like they've never watched a game of snooker in their lives. And they've just turned on and thinking, what the hell is that big green thing on the table, right? And he's actually speaking to you like an amateur just watching it straight from the start. And I think he's brilliant. John Virgo is great as well. But again, Virgo does like to give that drama. He adds drama to his voice.
They all have their strengths and weaknesses. They are entertaining and they are knowledgeable. We're not questioning that. But,
well, Dan says maybe it's time to retire JV and Dennis Taylor, but no, not yet. Not yet.
You have to maybe just spread it around a little bit. Maybe just change up the tandems. I'm not sure what the final solution is, but there needs to be something.
Yeah,
for sure.
And to personally, I would miss Dennis Taylor and Virgo's voices because they're like the voice of snooker there.
Yep. Yeah, they've been around for, since the 80s for sure. Maybe earlier than that.
Just to ask the viewers there before we move on, what do they make of Stephen Hendry as a commentator? So I'll just put that out there as well. Okay, to the break-off shot then, Mike. Thoughts on, we won't delve too much into it because I know you and Scott did earlier, but thoughts on it? Any other things to add to that, what you didn't add earlier?
Look, I'm not against it. The player should be allowed to do whatever he wants. If that's his choice of shot, so be it. I'm not up in arms over it or anything like that. That's their choice. You know what I'm saying? So it's not worth.
I think it was Joe Perry who started to say something like maybe they should introduce a rule where red has to hit a cushion so they can stop that break. But I really don't agree with that. I think that it adds to the game. It adds a bit of spice to it. And I don't know why more players ain't doing it in fairness. You know, if my opponent did that one frame, I would repay him the second frame with the same break.
Yeah. Well, I'll go back to what I said to Scott, and is obviously it's reference about like a game of chess with balls. Well,
yeah.
great grandmaster chess players use multiple chess openings. I don't see any issue with this at all. If that's the way they want to start the frame, that's free
Unless
flow.
you call Garry Kasparov, and every time you black, you open up with Sicilian.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But again, it's players' preference, and Williams started it, so everyone's copying him. Now, a lot of people might prefer a break off that Quinton Hahn used to do: smash the ball and maybe pot one.
Yep.
A lot of players might like that. A lot of people who watch think, "Oh, come on, open the game up," you know. But I will say that they say, "Oh, yeah, it leaves it safe. They don't leave a long red," because 90% of the time a red drifts over to the corner pocket, and it leaves a red on. But Ronnie was doing it against McGill, and I think McGill repaid it one frame. I can't remember one. I think he did. I might get corrected on that. I think he did. But Ronnie was leaving reds to the middle, and McGill took them.
But do you think it was a case of trying to do a different break-off, or was it becoming a case of, I'm taking sides? I agree with Mark Williams, so I'm going to do it, or I'm just going to break off normally, and it's like siding with Judd was the one that was saying it was, quote, boring. Would it become a political thing, or was it just something to try?
I think it's a decent break-off shot. I don't think that, like you say, is anything wrong with it. There's a lot of people who watch snooker who love the game to be open. A lot of players might find it a little bit monotonous, and they might want to get their cue arm going, and they can't, so it prevents that. You know, there's a lot to it. I think it's like Michael Hager's just said, it's a natural progression of the game.
He's correct. And he's 100% correct.
It's becoming that. It's becoming a progression. Like this is the way forward. You know.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm a bit like this about it. As a snooker fan, yeah. As a player, I would hate it personally. As a player, I'd be like, oh, I want to get going. I want to get a long red. You know.
Yeah.
Have a go at something. But to watch it, do you find it a bit off-putting to watch?
Not at all, because it resolves itself in fairly quick order, and frames still get done, and there's no length of match difference at all. Almost, it didn't seem like. So for me, I have no problem with it. It doesn't bother me. The frame's it's gonna resolve itself, and at some point there's going to be opportunities.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I just said that I just hope that they don't start introducing pool rules to snooker, because that would be absolutely abysmal.
It would be catastrophic if they said, "Oh, well, you can't hit you have to make sure a red hits a cushion, or you can't hit the back cushion, or you have to hit a red before a cushion," or something bizarre like that. Because now you're kind of changing the game to in a negative sense. Yeah. You're forcing someone to play a shot that you don't necessarily want to play.
Oh, the other break-off shot you could do is come off a side cushion and plant into the side of the pack.
That, or you could do like the dump shot, you know, where you hit the side cushion, the bottom cushion, and clip the reds and come back to the balk end. You know, I think Cliff Thorburn, it was like the dump shot. Do you remember where you would kind of like that?
You could do it where pretty much the same thing, where you just kind of slide off the pack and finish the white on the bottom cushion, like on the back cushion where the black is. Yeah, but do you have to? Good question from Dan. I'm not sure. Do you have to hit a cushion in the shootout? I think they do. I think they do in the shootout.
Like they have to hit the reds and then hit a cushion? Is that what you're saying?
I think the break-off has to hit a cushion. The reds have to hit a cushion from the break-off in the shootout.
But surely you're not going to mandate that for every single tournament.
No, I think that's only because it's a 10-minute frame.
Yeah, well, we're not. If that's the rule for that event, that's fine, and I don't have any objection to that, because you're trying something different and it's timed and all that, and it's more of an entertainment factor. But can you imagine a World Championship match being played with that?
No.
Surely not. That'd be too gimmicky.
Wouldn't work.
So,
I don't think it would work, and it would probably lose ratings.
well, it would, because that's not what the game is. The game is about various gameplays. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
it's not always the same gameplay. You know, you break off
Just
differently. So, but
yeah.
I don't have an issue with it at all as a purist.
No,
If that's
I don't. I don't. I'm just thinking about the snooker fans in general. Like, on one hand, people might love it because of the safety play, but on another hand, people like to see long pots and just break building and pots all the time.
well, I mean,
So
let's look at the World Championships here quickly. So we've had these break-off shots in that they were not played in previous tournaments, correct? In previous World Championships. Yet we have
correct.
seven, and yet we have 73 centuries, and we're just going into the quarterfinals.
Yes,
So,
it's incredible. That is
you know,
incredible, isn't it? To think that. That is amazing, Mike. To be fair, 73 already, and
73 already,
we're
and we've
already
had to
starting
deal.
week 2.
We've just finished round 2, and we've had this break off in place.
Yes.
So I'm just playing devil's advocate for a moment. It's like
No, that's okay.
if we were to shatter the centuries record, and we've got this so-called obscure break off or stroke of play or whatever they call it, why change it? Because you're still
Yeah,
getting centuries made. You know what I mean?
exactly. There is an argument to it though, but
So,
I
so
think we could talk about that till we're blue in the face
yeah,
on this. But it's a good, interesting topic to talk about. Um,
yeah.
Dan said, "Is anyone worried that the new boss might mess with the format of the World Championship?" I, but I understood that Scott and Dylan were talking about this in one of their episodes, saying that they might go like to the best of 31 if there's one thing that might be changed, best of 31 in the semis. Because they did do that in 96 or something, 97, something like that.
It did. It was
So,
previously, but 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 what difference does that make in essence? Why would you go from best of 33 to a best of 31? What is the actual
well, they
idea
said,
behind that?
well, they were saying that they wouldn't want to go from 16 to get 17 frames in the semi-finals when you've got to push to 18 in the final. Why not make it 16? I don't get the logic there.
Huh.
I think it should stay as it is. It's perfect the way it is. It's the best championship in the world, and it should be the most difficult test. So, yes, I think the best of 33 and the best of 35 is perfect.
Yeah, I don't change any of it.
But of
Keep
course,
it as
in the old
is.
days, Mike, in the old days, if we were keeping to that, like up to 95 frames or something, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and playing the dead frames when the match was already decided, like
Yeah,
that's like going to some extreme that doesn't even need to be known. That's just silliness.
but
But
I think, like Scott said, it's absolute torture. If you've lost and you've still got to play,
yeah, no, that's waste. That's the true definition of wasting time.
wasting
Like, isn't
time.
it?
Well, that's why it's called dead frames, right?
Yeah.
It's already dead.
So
So, yeah.
yeah,
Dan said
don't change it.
semis were best of 31 until 1997. Yeah, that's right. Calvin said that he's not a fan of the shootout.
I think
So
that's at least two of us.
yeah, that's 3 of us. I think.
Okay, that's three of us. All right.
All right. Although I will say on the argument state of that is that I've said it before in previous episodes that the shootout is best for the underranked player, the lower ranked player, because they could beat a bigger ranked player in 10 minutes. That's it.
And it's also very fan friendly. It's one of those things where Trump talks about being appealing to the young people. This is a kind of event that does allow for that.
And it's the only event on the tour that allow the crowd to get very, very involved.
Yes, exactly, and that's a good thing. You've got to have at least one event that allows that.
I mean, look at the other day when Ronnie was playing Mark Joyce, and they were shouting, "God!" and it was really loud, putting Mark Joyce off, probably, no doubt. And if you're Mark Joyce, you've got to play up against that.
Yeah,
You know?
that's one of Ronnie's great advantages is the crowd. He's had
Yes.
it pretty much his entire career.
Oh, by the
So,
way, announcement to make.
oh,
Friday evening, 10 o'clock, Mark Joyce will be joining us.
fantastic.
A
That's
guest
a
on
good
our
pickup.
show. Guest on
Yeah,
our
yeah,
show.
absolutely. Looking forward to
Yeah.
that.
And on Scott's show, I think he's got Kelly Barker on Thursday.
He had
So a bit
mentioned
of
that
a
to me earlier on. He had.
an almanac pack show for you there. Scott is selling
Absolutely.
that. And I think Kelly, I think she's still at the Crucible, isn't she?
She is, correct.
Yeah.
She's
So
still down there.
I'm not jealous
So,
at all. Who said that?
uh, so I got a question. I got a question for you. So we hear that Judgment Day is one of the best broadcasts on like Facebook with the 8 tables and they jump from table to table. Do you
Agreed.
think it
Yeah.
would? Do you think it would be a good idea to do more of that besides just World Championship qualifying?
Yes. Judgment Day for UK Championship. Yes, I agree.
It should be. There should be more coverage like that. I think the 8 tables jumping from table to table.
Yeah.
I think.
If you're going to make it more appealing, that's one thing to do. Definitely
Yep.
bring that into play. Bring them qualifiers for the UK Championship in.
Yep.
Give players more televised coverage.
Yep.
Definitely.
Exactly. I agree.
Definitely.
I think that's we're on the same page on that one.
Yeah, and I think what they should do is as well. I know they won't, but this is another thing. Just cotton on to that they should televise Q School.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
On what reasons?
Give more players more
Exposure.
exposure. Yeah, give them more scope, and look at the up and coming players that's coming through Q School, like Jamie Barrett and all the rest of them down there. No disrespect to anybody down there because I'm not sure who's around there, but yes.
The one problem that in the UK where you're unfortunate, where in Canada and the US we have multiple sports networks 24/7, regional, national, international, various. For here it would be easier to get that. But in the UK they don't have that necessarily. Like they don't have an ESPN or a Sportsnet or anything like that where we have it. So
No,
if you had it, it would be a no-brainer.
No, that's true, Mike. I agree with you there, but they've got the Freeview box where they could stick a channel on and say this is just for Q School. I mean, they did it for F1. They've done it for cricket. They've done it for golf.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Fair
so
enough.
just throw the Q School in there. I think it wouldn't be. I think it will get ratings. I think it will get viewings, without a doubt.
Yeah, fair enough.
By the way, Mark Wilcox says, "I wish the UK Championship would go back to the best of 17."
Yes, I agree with that. I think it should be back to best of 17s.
I would love to see the Masters and the UK Championship longer frames, definitely.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, because it's best of 11s all the way to the final, isn't it? And then best of 19 in the final.
Best of 19, yeah.
Final was best of 19, but it was best of 11, and then you have a day match and a night match.
I don't like best of 11s.
No,
I don't like them. I think they're way too short, and you can't get into the match.
True.
Yeah.
I agree. There's not much wiggle room. There's for sure.
Yeah. Dan says could put it on Free Sports. Yeah.
So is that a local network?
I think it's something you get on Freeview. I think.
Okay.
But I think, Mike, as a broadcasting service, I think we should start a petition for this.
Of course, absolutely.
And I think we get most of the snooker fans signing it, without a doubt. So I think that's a thing to put up as a post to get people to sign a petition. That would be great, and send it into a broadcast company.
So look, I haven't lived there since '88, so I don't know the ins and outs of like the TV, how it's how it's laid out and how it is.
Okay.
But my understanding is it's not treated as a property. It's not treated very well. Like it's
No, I mean today. I mean we've got Fire Sticks, we've got Freeview, Talk, BT, Sky Sports. Surely they can fit something in there.
because
You know,
you would think they would if snooker would try and push to do a better job of getting it exposed. Like
maybe it's something that we could put forward, or somebody could do. Like maybe to send an email to, I don't know, the World Snooker Tour. I'm not sure. Some
no.
idea. Just throw an idea their way, maybe.
I also think that you could use some other like they in Canada it's not easily to access matches. Like
Yeah.
Dazon's not very good, sorry. And like Matchroom Live is okay, but if they want to grow the game, they're gonna have to find like other avenues besides even streaming. Like they would need to get into some like American networks, Canadian networks, South America. Like
Or
get
or another idea, Mike. Facebook Live.
correct. Yes,
There's that,
absolutely. Correct.
they did that for the qualifiers.
Correct. I absolutely agree with you. Yes.
I mean,
This is a good
there's
platform.
room on internet for that sort of thing.
Yep. Absolutely correct. For
You know,
sure.
so it's out there. They should bring back the Mercantile Classic.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's an old like early
that's going back.
90s, isn't it?
When did that end? I'd love to know when that finished.
The Mercantile Classic. That was like 91, something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Willie Thorne won that, of course. The
Yes.
Mercantile, yes, the Mercantile. I don't know. Maybe that was a company or something.
I think it
That was
was.
around then. Yeah, and they finished, and then they finished their tournaments.
One of the rare names that isn't either a cigarette company or a booze company or a betting company. Mercantile Credit Classic.
That's it. Yeah, that's right.
92 was the last one, Mark Wilcox says. So I think that sounds about right.
Okay. Well, I'm sure Scott would know that as well.
Yeah, oh yes.
Mercantile Classic ended around 1990. 1990.
Yeah. So we've had,
Okay.
I said 91, Dan says 99, and Mark says 92. One of us is right.
He's out there. Definitely somebody's right. Right then. So
let's get down to today's action.
Fantastic topics, by the way, guys. And just to say thank you to everybody who got involved there.
Yeah, it was great. Lots of comments, conversation.
Right. So the quarterfinal lineup then of the 2021 Betfred World Snooker Championship. First of all, we come to, before we get to that stage, the ending of round 2, of course.
Yes.
Tonight's results, Mark Selby beats Mark Allen 13-7. No surprises at that, really.
No surprise. He had a 3-frame advantage going in, and he wins 13-7. No shock at all.
No.
Simply better, simply a heavier score. I got his for the match. I have his score, and he had a 68, a 53, a 96, 61, a 134, 63, 135, 54, 66, 54, 51, and a 132.
Wow.
How about that?
And a 132 for good measure.
And a 132 for good measure. Exactly.
Wow.
And Allen didn't make a break over 80 the entire match. No breaks over 80.
That is shocking.
But yeah,
to be honest, he's a better player than that, and he should be making higher breaks.
But I come to expect that to be almost the normal.
And I don't think I use the excuse of who he's playing either, because He's played Selby loads of times,
Yeah, look, Mark Allen's a good player. Like he's a very good player, but he can't compete with the big guys. To be honest with you,
Is it starting to go into decline?
I'm not saying decline. I just think he's ceiling. He's reached his ceiling. He's probably
Mm-hmm.
best like a top, like he's like from 10 to 20, something like
Do you
that.
remember? And do you remember when we started talking about the World Championships? Who was rated to win it by Neil Folds? Mark Allen.
Yeah, and I remember both yourself and we were very, very skeptical of that claim. Do you remember?
Yes.
We were both like, "Ooh, I don't know."
It was
Look,
a big shout to make.
to be fair, I don't think it's a knock on him. It's more of a credit to how good Selby is. Like,
Yeah.
let's be.
When he's strong, he's strong.
He's always strong. He's
I mean,
always strong.
look what he did to Mafflin, and I was very surprised at that result with Mafflin because I thought he'd be a real test for Selby. I thought he'd put more of a fight than that. But Selby's, produced the goods again.
But if you look at Selby's season, he won 2 trophies, and he has had a very, very good season. So to see him in the quarterfinals does not shock me in the least. And he may be facing his toughest match next, Mark Williams. But
Yeah.
I mean, I've got to favor Selby to win that match, and he will be, regardless of who wins out of McGill and Bingham, he will be a very strong favorite to get past them. So the earliest I could see Mark Selby being really beaten is in the final. The earliest. Who's
Yeah, true.
you
I agree. With the players that's left in there, but I think Selby, if he gets past Williams, which we'll come to, I think he could be on the verge of going to win it.
Yeah, he's he. I mean, I don't have him at the very top of my list, but he's definitely right underneath my favorite.
Definitely, yeah. Mike's not all-time great player.
No, I don't look. I'm not a fan of his. I'm not a fan of his. He's a great player. I'm not a fan.
Okay.
He's a great player though.
Even if he wins a world title,
He'll move up from he's 9 on my list. I'd flip him and Mark Williams on my all-time list. So
okay.
He would be at 8 instead of 9.
What if he comes through Williams?
Well, if he gets through, actually, in theory, you could argue this match would be for 8th all time on the all-time great list. this is whoever wins either holds 8 or goes into 8.
Okay.
So it should be a great match regardless.
Michael Hager, I think, says he's not convinced that Selby will win it. I think that's what he was saying.
He says that Selby will be in the final.
Will be in the final.
And I can see that.
To win it. Maybe not convinced to win it then.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think, Michael, could you just clear up what you mean by I'm not convinced? Because I'm just a little bit confused by your comment there. Mike, you're not a fan. He's not a fan either, Kelvin, of Selby.
He's a great player, but just, Anyway.
Yeah.
Sean Murphy 13, Yan Bintao 7.
Shock for me that Yan Bintao only got 7 frames out of Murphy.
Agreed.
I honestly thought he'd go 13-11, maybe even beat him 13-11.
To be honest with you, I was a little bit disappointed with Yan Bintao. I had some expectation that he would at least make the final 8. He was very, very disappointing for me.
Yeah, I thought his first match against Gould, he played really well. I thought he was solid. But is Murphy a better player? Not sure. I think he's on the same level as Bintao, maybe. Because he hasn't done much this season either, Murphy.
No, he hasn't been to any finals.
No,
So
no. It's a bit of a surprise to see him in the quarters, really.
so
But
well.
look, he's had that run of Mark Davis, didn't really get tested. Yang Bintao didn't really get tested, so
But
I don't know.
it's a little bit like how Judd Trump's got to the quarterfinals too. Like Judd hasn't been the best, but he's done more than enough. So
Yes.
it'll be compelling to see Murphy at his best against Trump with his best. That should be a great match. I mean, Judd should win, but it'll be great to watch.
Yeah, I don't know what's your thoughts on David Gilbert's performance?
On David Gilbert,
On
yeah,
his performance against Judd, do you think he was a bit out of touch?
I I think he missed an opportunity in the first session when he was up 3-1.
He
And
was.
then
He was up. Yeah.
in the fifth frame, he had a chance to make it 4-1, if you remember,
Yeah.
and he missed. I think it was a pink maybe, and then Judd turned around and ended up coming back to win that frame to make it 3-2, and then he won the next 3 frames to have a 5-3 advantage.
And
At that point, you felt that was like a bit of a missed opportunity for David, and then Judd in the next session won 6 out of the 8 frames. So.
And you're not going to turn that around. But
You're not going to turn that around. He made a bit of a match of it today.
There was a post on another snooker site that I saw that they said, well, it's a good job Trump is playing Gilbert, because the way he's playing, if he was playing someone like, we're going to say Robertson or Wilson, he'd be beat.
Yeah, he hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't been. He hasn't been vintage Trump, but he hasn't had to have been vintage Trump. Like,
that's right.
He's done enough to win, and that's great. But you're right. He's not going to be the very top end of the talent playing like that. So, I mean, hey, he advanced, and that's all he had to do.
That's right. So, in fairness, has Trump had his test match yet?
He hasn't. He'll get a test from Murphy, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's where we're going with that.
So let's just tell you the results then of the. So McGill beat Ronnie O'Sullivan 13-12 in a Crucible Classic. Absolute brilliant match that was. That is the match of round 2, without a doubt. Stuart Bingham advances against Jamie Jones 13-6. What a gap that is.
Yep. That was a great performance.
And Bingham is playing some awesome snooker at the moment. Mark Williams beat John Higgins by a good margin, 13-7 again.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. Robertson beat Lazowski 13-9.
Yep.
And no surprise. No. Mark Selby beat Allen 13-7. Wilson beat Hawkins 13-10. Murphy beat Yang Bintao 13-7, and Trump beat Gilbert 13-8. So quarterfinals then, Mike, thoughts? McGill, Bingham.
Wow, that's a flip of a coin. I mean, no matter who you pick, you're going to probably get it wrong. It's that close. I'm happy for either one because I quite like both players. They're both playing really well. So it should make for a very, very interesting match. But because Bull Run lived in my neck of the woods, which Basildon, so I am going to pick Basildon Bingham. 13-12.
Let's just have a look at it. So he beat Zhongwei. He beat Ding Junhui 10-9 in the first round. And then he really blitzed Jamie Jones, didn't he? Jamie Jones didn't stand a chance. But I would argue that McGill has had the hardest run, beating O'Sullivan in the way he did, by 2 frames down, coming back, and making that century 135, which is incredible against O'Sullivan when you're 12-11 down. And to beat Ricky Walden isn't easy.
No, he was very, very good there, actually. He was very solid in that match. 10-5. So
For them two to come together is, I honestly think that that's going to be maybe the match of the round again. Maybe.
as Tom says, slightly fancy Bingham to beat McGill, but it could be really close. I think that's what I'm saying right there.
Yeah.
And
Let's just have a look at the head-to-heads. Bingham is currently 3-2 up in the head-to-heads.
When did they last play? Just by offhand?
They last played in the winners group, where Bingham won 3-1.
Oh, okay.
Championship.
All right.
Championship in the winners group. Yeah.
So you're picking McGill?
I'm going with McGill. Close one, maybe 13-10.
13-10, and I've got Bingham 13-12. Okay. Next match is Mark Williams versus Mark Selby.
Yes. Well, I think we've got all night to discuss that, haven't we? What a match. I've just got to say, what a match that is going to be. To pick a winner, it's, like you say, flick of a coin.
Yep.
Both playing great snooker. Williams to beat Higgins. Easily came past Craigie, I know. And then Selby to beat Mafflin, which I'm really surprised about. Yeah, not that Selby won, but by the margin.
Yeah.
And then to beat Allen, which isn't surprising. So I don't want to call it. I would say 13-12 either way.
The way Selby's played, he looks almost unbeatable. So I'm going to have to go with Mark Selby. And I think it's going to be 13-10. I think it's going to be close, but I think it's going to be Selby 13-10.
They last played in the 2021 Players Championship. Selby won 6-4, and his current head-to-head score is 21-17. Selby.
So that kind of suggests it's going to be a close match, close everything.
I'm really looking forward to that. That sounds really, really mouthwatering, doesn't it?
When does that one start? Is that tomorrow?
Let's have the order of play here. I've got it in front of me, Mike. Just for that, it is 2:30.
Oh, very nice. That's a good one.
Oh boy!
I will be up for that.
Oh boy!
Oh
boy! McGill and Bingham start at 10 in the morning.
Okay.
And then they finish on the Wednesday afternoon. Okay. So they have a morning session tomorrow, an evening, and then they have the Wednesday afternoon end. So, yeah. Selby and Williams, tougher one. They play in the afternoon tomorrow, and then on the Wednesday, they start at 10 and finish at 7. And finish evening. So.
Tom Shappers has just been in touch again, and he says Selby has been great so far. So has Williams. I just have a feeling Williams will win the match and maybe win the whole thing. So, and that's not too far-fetched either, because Mark Williams has been brilliant.
Yeah, Williams, people saying here, Williams 13-11, that was Kelvin. Mark Wilcox says Selby 13-12. And Kelvin Platten says Bingham will maybe edge it 13-11. So, a lot edging either way. Who are you picking?
McGill. You've got McGill, and then second round.
I'm going McGill, and
you want to go Williams by the sounds of it.
You're twisting my arm behind my back here, aren't you?
Oh, I've got no choice. I'm supposed to do that.
Oh, dear me. To use the words of Phil Yates. Oh, dear me.
Who you got?
I'll go Williams.
You're going with Williams, all right. Close?
I'm saying Williams, but my heart's saying Selby.
Oh, you're sounding like Scott now.
I know, sorry. I'll go Williams, all right? There you go.
Okay, you got Williams. You got Williams, I got Selby. Deal.
Okay. God. What a match. I'll just say, what a match. That's all I can say, and I hope it goes all the way.
So the next match is Trump versus Murphy. Number 1 against number 7.
Yes, that's a That I do. Would you argue, before I answer you, would you argue that this is one of the best quarterfinal lineups we've had for a few years?
This is because you could make the case Mark Williams should still be in the top like 10 players. You could,
Yeah, he should be. He should be good enough.
You could argue Anthony McGill could be like borderline on the top 10 as well. Like Stuart Bingham's ranked 18, and he plays way better than that ranking. He way outplays his ranking.
Oh yeah,
don't you think?
It's like yes, and another player we said about Stephen Maguire, who doesn't play like he's 8th in the world.
Yeah, so
you know, it's just a weird combination. But would you have put those 8 players into the quarterfinals at the start of this tournament?
Okay, I would have had the only one I may not have had, or 2, and they're playing each other, is Bingham and McGill. But I could definitely have seen all the other guys there: Kyron, Neil, Judd, Sean, Mark Selby, Mark Williams. You can make the.
You would have had Ronnie, definitely. I know you'd have put him in there. I'd have put Ali Carter in there.
Really?
Yeah.
Based on what?
I thought he'd have come through Lizowski, in fairness. I really was surprised when he lost to him.
But do you think he would have won a second match and made a quarterfinal appearance with this lineup? I don't know. Ali's a great player, but that would be stretching it.
Maybe not with this lineup, but I'd expect him to be there or thereabouts.
That's a tough one to call. I don't know. Murphy and Judd's head-to-head. What is that?
Sorry, Murphy's head-to-head
with Judd Trump.
It is because I got it up. I was looking at it. Here we go. Now, 22 Trump, Murphy 11. Jeez. So he's got 11 match ahead of him?
He's got 11 more matches?
22-11.
Wow.
To Trump. So, and he did say, Murphy was asked and said, do you know your head-to-heads? And he said no. But they met in the Welsh Open. Murphy beat him 5-3 last year.
Yep.
And in the 2020 Masters, Murphy beat him 6-3. So, and he also beat him in the China Open as well. Trump beat Murphy, gave him a thrashing 10-3 in the China Open final.
I do recall that actually.
So,
well, I have to say, Judd. I think we're going to have to see his best match. I anticipate it's coming.
I think Judd will win.
13-9. I'm going 13-9.
Okay. I'll go 13-10.
13-10. Yeah, I think he could get blitzed. Trump might come out quick.
Kelvin says I want Murphy, but I think Trump. 13-10, like we said. Tom Shapcott says Carter was one of the form players, to be honest, when he come in.
Well, I mean, he was good coming through qualifying, but I just didn't. If he beat Lizowski, was he going to beat Neil Robertson? Was Ali Carter going to beat Neil Robertson? I say absolutely no chance.
No, that's true. I do agree with you, but the second round quarterfinals.
Second round, sure, but he wouldn't have got to the quarterfinals.
But okay, I mean, he does normally knock around there.
Oh no, he's a good player, and you're right, he was playing pretty well coming in.
Yeah,
you know, his draw wasn't the best.
Trump played Murphy 2013 at same stage in 2013. Murphy led 7-2 and 8-3, but Judd won 13-12. Trump should win, but Murphy has been somewhere near his best, especially against Jan. Trump to edge this one. Has been somewhere near his best. Would you say that's true about Murphy? He's not at his best before.
You don't think it's Murphy's best?
Murphy has not been his best.
Oh, wow. I thought he was pretty good against Jan. He got lots of opportunities gifted to him. I'll say that. but he took advantage of Jan's mistakes, and
and he cleared up when he had to.
he did. He multiple frames where he looked to be in trouble, or Jan should have won, and he missed, and Sean stepped in and did it. So I look, this one won't be as close. I don't think this one's as close as everyone's saying. I think Judd's going to come out full guns blazing.
I'm really anticipating a fantastic match.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's going to be an upset somewhere.
Yeah. Where do you think it's going to come from?
Well.
With the players left, Mike, you're thinking up.
I hope I'm wrong, but the one I could maybe see it, and I could see Kyron beating Neil.
Okay. Yeah, that's a possibility.
But that's the last match we're going to go over, and I know they played at was it maybe the Players' Championship when Neil was playing Kyron, and Kyron won 6-2.
Let's have a look at that.
And this was after Neil made a bunch of centuries against Lu Ning. Do you remember?
Well,
and then he went into the next round.
The head-to-heads between Robertson and Wilson, by the way, are 3-3.
Yeah, so that kind of suggests something. It's going to be close.
It's going to be really good. Players' Championship, like you've just said, Wilson beat him there. Wilson beat him at the 2020 Welsh Open quarter-final. He beat him in the semi-final at the World Grand Prix in 2020.
So has he won the last 3 matches? Is that what you're saying?
He's won the last 2, and then Robertson beat him 2020 World Grand Prix.
Okay.
And then semi-final, Robertson beat him 2018 Championship League, but there were different players back in 2018 and 2017, weren't they?
Sure.
So 3-3 then. That's they've only played 6 matches together.
Yeah, that's compelling. I think that's going to be good.
That's going to be a hell of a match. That is going to be a hell of a match.
I'll say Neil in a squeaker, 13-12.
Okay, last black ball finish, as Scott would say.
Yeah, that's the tight one for me.
So who are you going as a semi-finalist again?
So I'm going to have Neil versus Judd in one semi-final. I will have Mark Selby and Stuart Bingham in the other semi-final.
Okay, and I'll go McGill Williams. I will go Robertson Trump.
So we agree on the bottom half of the draw, and we're different on the top half. That's great. I'm looking forward to it.
That's going to be an incredible semi-final, though, isn't it? Trump and Robertson.
Well, that could be a spectacle for sure. Absolutely.
They'll just put each other's lights out.
That's great. Every time they play,
they'll just go blow for blow. That's all they'll do.
Look, they played at the English Open final and Judd won. I think it was 9-8. And then Neil Robertson beat him at the UK by the odd frame as well, 10-9. And he was down 9-8.
Yeah.
And he won so to see them in a World Championship semi-final, that's something.
Let's go, just for argument's sake here, devil's advocate, let's just go for a loser's semi-final. Who's going to actually win that shouldn't win these games. So Bingham to beat McGill, because I think McGill will win. So we'll put Bingham in the semis. I will.
Yep.
Against,
Selby.
I would say, Selby. So Bingham Selby, how do you think that would go?
That's got to be Selby all day.
Yeah, I agree. And Kyron Wilson against Murphy.
Kyron Wilson, but it's close.
Very close. So that covers it all then. So the quarterfinals start tomorrow.
Yes, as you said,
wow.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. 10 a.m. First match is McGill, Bingham, and Robertson, Wilson.
Oh, wow.
So
I will be up early, sir.
You will be. Yeah, I know.
Oh,
you're
yes.
to the cause. And both of them matches will start at 10, and the second session will be at 7.
Oh,
so
okay.
they're the same day. McGill, Robertson, and all that. But the second session, the other match is Williams and Selby starts at 2:30, along with Murphy Trump tomorrow.
Wow. Oh, isn't that something?
What a day! What a day!
That's must-watch TV, sir.
Jesus
That's must-watch.
Christ. Not to blaspheme any religious quote there. Sorry.
No.
But wow, just.
To answer that question you said earlier, is it the best lineup in the quarterfinals? If it's not the best, it's almost second best.
Can't do it, Mike. Can't act, mate. Can't act the excitement that this is going to bring.
Oh, no, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. So, right then. So our last thing before we go, one of our last things is the Fantasy League. Now, we've started this off, and I will tell you the current players that we've got in there. Okay. We've got quite a few, because we did this with Scott before. Yeah. What we do is we pick players from the ratings, from the rankings, and we put them into order, like points and stuff like that. So, David Gilbert, 3. Yep. Ding Junhui is a 3. Liang Wenbo is a 3. I mean, we might have to review some of these because, current form and that. Martin Gould is a 3. Tepchai Unnu's 3. Alexandra Ursenbach is on a 2. Slezer's 2. Fraser Patrick 2. Jackson Page is on a 2. James Cahill, Jamie O'Neill, Lillian Boyko, Martin O'Donnell, Sonny Akini, all on 2. And then we've got Ricky Walden on 3, Ali Carter on 3, Karen Wilson 4, and Sean Murphy on a 4. So some of them, like I say, we'll have to get reviewed, I think.
Yeah, I would say so.
So I'm going to give you, Mike, the first one today that I'm going to give you out of 4. We'll do 4. Is Mark Allen.
Oh, that's a tricky one. You know what? I'll have to say 3.
Yeah.
I can't put him up with the heavyweights yet.
No, I agree. I think because of his declining seasons, I guess, I would say 3's about fair.
I don't know if he's declining. I don't think decline is right. I think he's reached his ceiling. He's reached his ceiling, his potential. He's hit his ceiling.
Okay. Okay, 3. Yeah. So next we will pick Michael Holt.
I'd give him a 2.
Yeah, he's pretty consistent, but he's not actually, he's not actually winning any ranking events, but he's consistent and he's around, and he's pretty solid in his ranking of 28.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Yeah, I'll give him a 2 there. We'll give him a 2. We'll be kind to the guy, I think.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. That's what we do here.
Yes, we're kind. Yeah. Okay, so we'll hit one of the big boys now, and we'll go with John Higgins.
Well, I mean, he's still formidable. I've got to give him at least a 4.
I would say 4.
Yeah,
he's worth at least maybe a 5, maybe touching 5, but
I think it's flexible though, based on how he plays.
Yes. I know Scott would give him a 5 straight away.
Oh, well, we wouldn't even have to ask him. I had already penciled that in.
But he has been in the top 16 for nearly 30 years. Well, 25 years.
Yeah. Oh, he's been fantastic.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely. Yeah. What a player. He's a legend of the game. Good ambassador for the sport.
Correct.
And he's a solid player. Very solid. Although to lose to Williams, was you surprised by that this year?
No, I think he peaked when he won the Players Championship. and in how he won it, it looked like he had peaked. That was his highlight of the season. He couldn't get any better than that, and could only end up worse. And that's what happened. And to be fair, Mark Williams was just really, really good. Like he was just outplayed. So
yeah. We've got John Higgins is third on my all-time list, says Mark Wilcox.
yep, he's on mine as well, third.
Yeah, Calvin Platten says a 4 definitely for Higgins, I think, and the other ones was agreed with. So yeah. And the next boy that we're going to hit, and this is the last one for the night, we're going to go with. We'll go with McGill.
See, he's actually a 4.
Well,
You were thinking what?
I was thinking 5, but no, that's just a joke. That's just a joke.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say 5, but I think because he's a top 16 player and he is a favourite of mine, I will side and say 4 on that one.
If he wins,
I won't go the full 5.
If he wins the World Championships, he's a 5. I mean, he hasn't won enough ranking events to put him in the elite class, but he's not far off.
Okay, so Anthony McGill goes in at 4 points.
4 points, yep.
Okay, so that wraps up the Fantasy League.
Any parting shots before we sign off?
Any
shout-outs, any comments, any final shots you need to get in?
No, I just think a very good show, Mike. Thank you very much for joining me.
It's been great.
And I think we've put some great things out there, like the Q School should be televised and all that sort of thing. I think, we've put it out there and we've done a good job, I think. I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
And just to say that Mark Joyce will be joining us on Friday.
Fantastic.
Friday night, 10 p.m. Tune in for that, guys. That's going to be a good episode. Of course, Mark lost to Ronnie this year. What did you make of Mark Joyce? Just a quick shout on him. What did you make to his performance? I know he didn't stand a chance punch, but
you know what? He did the best he could. He was always going to be up against it, but by and large, I thought his showing was excellent. He did the best he could. So yeah, I give him a high score for his showing.
Okay. And while we're on the subject of Mark Joyce, what points would you give him in the fantasy? Just as a quick one.
I give him a 3.
Okay. Yeah, not a bad call. I think he's, like you say, he's around, isn't he? He's there. And he does make a few tournaments. So, yeah, I'll give him a side with the 3 there.
My parting shot is, thank you very much for the participation in the comments section. It's quite busy tonight.
It is, isn't it?
Cheers to the good guys watching and hanging out. And we try and get your comments in and have kind of a conversation. And thanks for the participation. That's my That's my shout.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you to everybody who gets involved. It's no mean feat putting these shows on, and we do it because we love the sport, and we do it because to bring you entertainment as well. And I think we're doing all right.
I agree with you.
We're not doing anything wrong. We're not doing anything wrong.
All right. So, you want me to do it?
Yeah.
He's Graham in Burton-on-Trent. I am Mike in Vancouver. We are signing off. We will be back tomorrow to talk more snooker. See you later, fellas. Good night, Graham.
See you later.
Bye.
See you later.